Welcome back to the Next Aid Station podcast. I am your host, Jake Kilgore. Today we have friend, ultra runner, race director, family man, Cody Draper. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Cool. I appreciate you coming down all the way from Logan. So a good hour or so drive down to the studio to pop in for a quick show. I got a lot of questions. Cody is a race director of the Bear 100. He's also a very, very good ultra runner himself, very experienced, and last year placed in the top 10 of the DC Peaks 50. I want to open with the DC Peaks 50 and your experience there. We had our first kind of full year, and you had a great race, ran just under 10 hours, and we were testing out our live stream and how that would work, and you, after you finished the race, were kind of a guest on the live stream and helped us kind of do some commentating. What was your overall experience of the DC Peaks 50?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun day. What better way to spend a fall afternoon than running through the mountains? Morning, afternoon. Thankfully, I was done before dark, so that was nice. But great race, lots of fun. Conditions were perfect. The course was spectacular. The colors coming through Mueller Park were just incredible. It was a good day.
Good, man. I think that between the Bear 100 and DC Peaks, we can definitely agree on the Wasatch Front in the fall being one of the best times of year around here.
Definitely. There's plenty of options, lots of running. Everything's just beautiful.
When you this is now going to be your second year as the race director of the Bear 100. How did that all come about? Why the Bear 100? I know you're a Logan guy. You've been there a long time, but what was it like, and how did that all come about with the Bear 100?
Yeah, it was a long journey to where I am now, and one that I never would have expected. I actually learned about the Bear 100 when I was helping a friend who had, I guess, signed up or got recruited by Leland to go mark a section of the course. So this is back in 2006, and I had just graduated from Utah State, was working up there, and my friend said, hey, we're going to go mark a section of this course of the Bear 100. I had no idea what it was, and we hopped in Leland's truck, and he drove the two of us up in the middle of what I thought nowhere and dumped us off with a roll of flagging and said, hey, go mark this section. I'll go pick you up in a couple hours. And I was completely blown away by the adventure of it. And this is awesome. This is fun. I had no idea what I was doing, putting up flagging on trees and just following the lead of my friend. And, it led to the next year helping out in a different way. And every year we continued to help in various ways, sometimes pacing. Helped run an aid station for 3 years as well. Did various behind-the-scenes jobs to help Leland out. And over the last couple of years, just kind of grew more and more interested in taking a more active role and making sure that the race has a good legacy. And so I just approached Leland and we had some discussions about it, and he was interested. The timing was right, and we felt it was a good match for what his vision of the race was as the founder and originator. And he ran it for 23 years. This is our 25th year this year, so we're pretty excited to have just to celebrate that legacy.
So cool.
Yeah, it's just cool. Over the years building and building.
So just you literally started through volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you start trail running then?
I was kind of a runner back then. I ran my first road marathon in 2006, that same year, and thought, hey, this is kind of fun, but it wasn't long, a couple years of road running before I was tired of that and wanted to do something more adventurous, and it doesn't beat your body up as much, and trail running was that perfect fit for me. So yeah, it's been, quite a few years of trail running ever since.
Yeah, so many of us start on the roads, and it's a couple years before we're like looking out our back window going, why don't I just go right there? That looks really cool.
Yep, I was training on the roads, and then on the weekends I'd go run on the trail, and it was all about my weekend and not my training for the upcoming marathon, and realized I'm doing this wrong. I just need to go run some trail races, and I haven't regretted it at all.
Yeah, love it. Well, you've ran a lot of races, and you've done really well in them. I mean, you're up over 60 plus on ultra sign up. There's a bunch that are of course not on there. What are some of your favorites as you look back over the last handful of years? You're still young, early 40s. You got a lot more legs in you, but what are kind of some of, if not the Bear 100 or the not DC Peaks, like give me a couple like races that you're like, you got to run this before you end your running career.
Yeah, good question. I was very impressed with Western States. I got the privilege to run that 2021. I was chosen for the COVID year. Thankfully, it rolled over, and I got to go back in 2021 and run it. It lived up to the hype. It is really that amazing of a race. Loved it. Hopefully everybody gets a chance to go run that once. But aside from that one of my favorites was the I'm Tough 100 up in McCall, Idaho. Jeremy Humphrey, he puts on an amazing race up there. Highly recommend that one. Beautiful. My wife wants to go back. She just went up, took photos, crewed me, had a great time. We have this giant print that she made of her photo that she took. It's just this awesome scene that we have in our kitchen now because of that.
So cool. Yeah, I raced I'm Tough in 2020.
Okay.
And it chewed me up and spit me
It is
out.
tough.
That thing was hard.
It's way harder than it looks on paper, so be smart. Take care of yourself. I didn't quite as well as I should have. I ended up around mile 40 something up on the high plateau, running along in the hills, just cooked, just overheated, dehydrated. I found a little creek finally and just doused myself and then laid down on a rock for I don't know how long, maybe 15 minutes. Bunch of runners came by and checked on me, and I'm good, I'll be back. And just took some time to kind of regroup, but man, that thing destroyed me. Thankfully, I bounced back and was able to finish strong.
I was gonna say you bounced back nice. I mean, you 27 plus hours, top 10 finished there, which that is a tough course. When I ran it, my watch tracked 108 miles. Did yours run longer?
It was longer. I think it was shorter than the year you ran. They changed the start and finish approaches a little bit, but it was well over 100. But you kind of have to know that going into it. Don't panic when you're nowhere near the finish line and your watch clicks over to 100 miles. It'll be okay.
Well, my book, Trial Running, that I give to every guest that I've given you a copy of, it mirrors that race. So it takes kind of my voyage through that race. It's the longest 100 I've done. It took me like exactly 30 hours to do it, and it absolutely destroyed me. That was the second 100 I believe that I'd done, and it was tough, but highly recommended. Jeremy does a great job with that event. They've only been around a handful of years, but they seem to get a really good draw.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend that race. There's a bunch of others. Like I've run Logan Peak race 10 times. That's just my backyard. That's kind of what got me into. That was my first trail race. Was Logan Peak, and I'd done some marathons and thought, hey, it can't be that hard to run a marathon in the trails. And boy, is it different. I was on a section of pretty remote trail. This was my first year, longest run of my life. I'm 4 hours into it and looking for a way off the mountain because I'm done.
You should get me off of
total bonk. I had no idea how to fuel properly, and I was looking off the cliffs and trying to scout a way down to, because you could see Logan Canyon, see the road miles below you. Yeah. I just couldn't figure out how to get down there, so I was like, I'm done.
Get me off.
It was funny. Yeah. I ran with my friend, and he kind of helped me along and nursed me along, and we get towards the finish line, and you know when you smell the barn and you're like, yeah, I'm done. As soon as I could see the finish line, I'm like, so are we going to like hold hands across the finish line, or how's this going to go? He's like, if you're going to go now. So I tried to race him to the finish line and was a total jerk to him because he helped me for 4 hours before listening to my crying and whining and moaning.
And then you booked it down that trail and then took the road in, and it was a fast finish.
Fast finish, and I beat him by 20 seconds and was so proud of myself.
Yeah, good. Well, he has to live up to that forever then, that you beat him by 20 seconds.
I'm a total jerk.
Yeah. Well, hey, so those are races that definitely you would highly recommend. I've done both of those, I Am Tough and Logan Peak. Loved them.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the bucket list you haven't done yet? What do you want to do?
I've been trying to get into hard rock for 12 years, ever since my first Bear. My first qualifier was at the Bear, and ever since then I have not been drawn in the lottery. It should have been this year. It should be next year. It might be the next year, but
Yeah.
within the next 2 years, for sure, I'm in.
You're gonna have like 30% of the tickets in the pool.
I'll
next
be
year.
drawn 3 times. I better.
All right, dude, I'm
get in.
sweating you in. I think
So-
I think you get in this coming year. I was shocked you didn't get in this year, this coming.
Yeah.
What the race is in 2 weeks. I think that I was shocked you didn't get in. So I'm looking forward to 2024. I think you'll get in.
I've been out there a bunch, pacing, crewing, having fun. I love that race. I love the feel. It's something we aspire to do with the Bear, just make it that hometown but high quality race.
And speaking of the Bear, what do we have as viewers to look forward to this coming year, Bear 100, or in the ultra community? Like, has the trail changed? Has anything changed standards-wise, timing-wise? What, is it the same?
It's mostly the same. We're trying really hard to keep it as close to the original as possible. And with that said, we still make little tweaks here and there. We're always trying to do a better job with communication, with the execution of the event. This year, I just got approval to adjust a tiny section of the course. If you're familiar with it, it's after Right-Hand Fork and before Temple Fork. There's a little road section about 1.5 miles as you drop down off of Mud Flat towards Temple Fork Aid Station. You run along the road for a bit there before connecting back up to a nice single track into the Aid. We're able to take now a different route that parallels that road. It's on single track. So we're actually doing some trail work on it and getting it up to snuff and ready. And so we're excited to have that little adjustment here and there. So we're trying to make little improvements like that. That's been a long time coming, working with the Forest Service to get that approved. And so we're happy to be able to do that.
Awesome. How about on the volunteer front? Do you guys have all the help you need there? Where do people find the Bear 100 to say, hey, I want to help? And where do you guys need help right now?
Good question. So we always need aid station volunteers. That's our number one. There's always room to help. We have pretty good leadership in place, ready to help you. But if, hey, I want to help in some way, the best way to do it is to go to Ultra Sign Up, find the Bear 100, and instead of registering, there's a volunteer button there. So go ahead and click that, and then it has a couple questions for you, and then our volunteer coordinator will connect with you and match make basically with what your schedule is and how it aligns to which aid stations need some help and kind of assign it that way. But we have a lot of people that are crewing or pacing or something else, and they have some free time. They go and help. We love to have that.
Awesome. So we're about 90 days out from race day, and there's still plenty of openings, plenty of spots where people can come help, volunteer at any of the aid stations or some of the aid stations where you need openings.
Please sign up. We need your help.
Awesome. Okay. How about sticking on the race? I know that there's still a long wait list, and a bunch of people will likely still get in the race. Who do we like? Kind of what runners should we be watching? Maybe 2 or 3, name 4 or 5. Give me some men and some women that you're very excited to see perform at your race this year.
Oh man, I don't know if I want to jinx anybody or give them too much credit and have them feel like they have pressure. So I'm
do.
very,
Let's give them all the pressure.
I'm very hesitant to name drop. I'm excited for Allison Stratton to come back. Of course, she won last year. That was her, I believe, second 100 and came in and just crushed it. And she did a good job on the women's front, and that was impressive. There's a lot of names that I'm not familiar with on the women's side, and I'm excited to get to know them and see how they can do. So it's hard to predict. It's going to be a fun year. The men's side, we have a few more people that I'm more familiar with. Jeff Browning, I believe everybody has heard of him before. He's coming out as part of the Rocky Mountain Slam as the capstone event, finish up the bear there. You got to watch out for him. He's won it before and can easily win it again. Jake Krong is a top pick. He was on course record pace last year and had a mishap and missed a turn, and unfortunately had to drop and was unable to finish. That was frustrating for him. I know he's back for revenge or redemption, whatever he wants to call it. So I'm watching close for him. We have Luke Nelson. He's an all-star runner. He's coming back. He's wanted to knock out a good bear. He's been doing some incredible training this year. I've been watching that. We have Trevor Fuchs, who's won Wasatch a couple times. He's coming out. If he's in his top shape, he's a force to reckon with as well. I don't know. I could keep going. Those are just
great,
the ones
dude.
I know of that I'm familiar with because I've run with them before. But there's plenty of names that I'm not familiar with that look pretty impressive.
Yeah, those are all pretty local names, right? I think a lot of these races now, especially Bear, this is its 25th year. There's probably some dark horses from, maybe the Northwest or California or anywhere else. Colorado, of course, has so many good runners. There are probably some dark horses in there that are like listening right now and are so glad you didn't say their name because then they're just going to blow up any prediction you make.
Exactly. Yep. You just don't know.
Yeah. Awesome. Regarding the Bear 100, what does the future look like for it? Is it always going to be like the Bear 100? Is there ever a Bear 200 or is there ever a Bear 50?
Well, I say never. I told my wife at one time I would never run 100.
Me too.
I don't know if you watched that Dance in the Bear video. If not, we need to link to it. It is amazing. Anyway, during that I watched that video. It highlighted some of the Bear 100 runners from way back when, the OGs. And we laughed about it and thought it was incredible. And I said, I would never do something stupid like that. So I'm hesitant to say I'll never do this or I'd never run a 200. I've said that before, but I might. I don't know. You just don't know what is in your future. For the Bear, though, I have a vision where we want to keep the Bear as pristine as we can. And I'm not inclined to add shorter races that same weekend. We like to keep it just the Bear and not make it, the Bear 50 the same day or the 5K or 10K. That's okay to do in other venues. Ours doesn't support it, and so because of that, we don't really want to promote that. So we're trying to keep it pristine. We have looked at other options of maybe we make a Bear series and have some different races lead up to the Bear. There's some great ones in the area, like the White Pine 50 that's put on many of the same trails that we run on the Bear 100, and it's a great tune-up race for the Bear. There's some ideas like that we might either partner with or adopt or start from scratch, something similar.
Cool. I love that. I think I would agree with you that the history or the like ultra runner purist would say that the Bear 100, if you're going to name 10 100 milers in the U.S., I don't know how you leave the Bear 100 out. It's, Bear and Wasatch, Hard Rock and Western, Vermont 100. I think that you're in there, and you want to mess with that. It's historic and it's iconic, and I love that that's your answer.
Yeah.
I would agree with you that any sort of series or a 50 or 200, awesome, great, add it to the repertoire, put it in the portfolio. But that, I think, the end of September is owned by you, and I think that your race owns that spot, especially locally or in the Western U.S. And I would love to see it stay that way. I think that either decision you make, you can't go wrong. I mean, those trails are beautiful; they'll always be beautiful. So whatever decision you guys make, but having the vision for that, I think having you come in as the race director at this time to kind of have a younger vision, like, okay, it's been 23 years, it's ready for a new someone new, at
new
the helm.
energy.
New energy.
Yep,
it's a great way to put it.
That's really all it is.
I know that Western has swapped out some of their chairman and board and things for younger, people, and just kind of that new evolution of the race. I think the new evolution of ultra is here, and it's happening, and kind of that next generation is starting to run races and direct races.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And Leland's an awesome guy. I love chatting with him. He is a man of many stories, and it's tough to pull it out of him. But he's a good guy, and we like having him and Ron and multiple people that were such a key part of the race for so many years as kind of an advisory role, helping us and just chatting. We love to keep that going.
Awesome, love it. You mentioned the Rocky Mountain Slam. What is that?
Yeah, so if you would do 400s in a year, that would from this list of races, then it was considered the Rocky Mountain Slam, and the list has slightly changed over the last year, but the goal is to have, if you're going to do maybe the toughest or the prettiest or the most mountainous hundreds in the U.S., the Rocky Mountain Slam is what you want to pick. The Bear has always been the owner of that race series as we started it, and it always culminated with the Bear 100 as the final race. And so you, in the past, were able to choose from a couple different races to get those 4 different finishes. And just kind of alluding to, there's a couple changes that we've done in the last year to try to make that more accessible. It includes Bighorn, Hard Rock, Leadville, Wasatch, and the Bear. And Hard Rock has really been a challenge for runners to get into. And then you also have a lottery at both Wasatch and Leadville as well, and the challenge is it's not very accessible to very many runners to be able to do the slam of the most beautiful, the hardest 100-milers. And so we've added Ouray and Wyoming Range 100 as additional options, and there's a good chance we're adding one more next year, but maybe we'll keep that on the down low today.
So there's currently 7 races, 7 events that make up the Rocky Mountain Slam, but the Slam is to do 4 of the 7.
Yeah, yep. So you can choose 4. Hard Rock is no longer required. In the past, it was. We changed that requirement to try to make it more accessible. So now choose 4 of those 7 races, complete all 4 under the time constraint, and you're part of the Rocky Mountain Slam finish group.
All in the same calendar year.
Correct.
Right. So, but 4 of the 5, but now 4 of the 7 are lottery.
Yep.
So you have to draw out of all 4 the same year?
Yep. So that's why it's so difficult. That's why we added Ouray, which doesn't require lottery. Hard Rock obviously does. Like I mentioned, Leadville and Wasatch do.
And Western.
Western's not part of it.
Oh, which one? I must have missed it. I thought you said Western.
Wyoming Range. I misspoke if I said Western, but it's Bighorn, which doesn't have a lottery. Hard Rock, Ouray, Wyoming Range, Leadville, Wasatch, and Bear.
Okay, so I probably misheard. So it would make sense that Western is not in it. They're not in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 of them that have lotteries then.
Yeah.
And you got to draw out, right, of those.
If you get into one of those lotteries, then I would suggest signing up for the other ones, because this is your year.
And how many people actually attempt the Rocky Mountain Slam each year?
Not very many. The most that we've ever had finish, I think, is 8 or 9 in one year. As few as 0 that have finished. This year we have 3.
3 that are attempting 4 of those races.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, and tell me about Ouray. I don't know much about that race.
Oh man, if you want the most vert packed into 100 miles, Ouray is insane. It's straight up and down the mountain out of Ouray, 5 or 6 times.
Where is that?
Which is in the San Juans. So if you're familiar with the Hard Rock course, Ouray is about the halfway point of the Hard Rock. So this gives you a chance to enjoy the same trails that the Hard Rock runners experience. But instead of it being a loop, you do some insane out and backs up to the peaks nearby and just destroy yourself. It's a tough one.
But it's not a lottery. You just sign up and hit
Yep.
it. I know Wyoming Range is the same. It's only been around a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I was contemplating that this year. I still am thinking. I'm thinking about it, but that one's got like 28,000 feet of vert in it. What does Ouray have?
Ouray has more than Hard Rock.
So over 32,000.
Yep. Yeah, it's closer to 40K of vert.
Okay, you're just climbing.
It's just insane.
You're climbing for 2 days.
It's tough. So it's not only beautiful but really, really hard.
Wow. Okay. So if I'm ever thinking about the Rocky Mountain Slam, maybe I don't do that one.
I don't know. People are drawn to the hardest. If you want the hardest, pick Ouray. Yeah. If you want something easier, maybe the Rocky Mountain Slam isn't for you at all anyway.
I don't know how Ouray, Hard Rock, and Wyoming. When do those take place? Because that's three.
I wouldn't do.
Those are crazy.
You can't do Ouray and Hard Rock because they're
Are they like
at
a week
almost
apart?
the same time. Yeah, they're pretty close together. So there's one in June, which is Bighorn, and then you get 2 in July, which is Ouray and Hard Rock, 2 in August, which is Leadville and Wyoming Range, and 2 in September, which is Wasatch and Bear. So really you have 2 from each month to choose from.
There you go.
And
Do one each month.
We'll be adding one more in June next year.
Cool. So yeah. So do one each month. That's
Then you're
how
okay.
you knock that
So
out.
yeah, 1 per month. You get to choose of those 2.
Dude. So how do we promote this Rocky Mountain Slam? How do we get more people doing it? If only 3 are doing it a year.
Yeah, put the word out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that hasn't been promoted very widely in the past, and that's okay. It's meant to be kind of a niche of a niche of a niche, so it's okay. We're not trying to blow up the world with it. It's really just one more fun thing that if you want an extra step beyond doing 100, yeah, you could do a 200, you could do a series. There's something like 40 different slams available. I don't know if you've seen all the different options.
I've only heard a handful of them, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few that are more popular than others. Obviously, the Rocky Mountain Slam is a little bit more well known than some others, but there's a lot to choose from, and that's okay. We just want to provide options and provide a way for people to go, okay, I want a big goal for the summer. Go out, check out different parts of the Rockies. This is what you go do.
Yeah, I was familiar several years ago with the first one I'd kind of heard of. I think it's called Grand Slam.
Mm-hmm.
Vermont Wasatch Bear?
Yeah, Leadville as well, because it had Old Dominion originally. So it was based on the original 100 milers. So it was at one time Old Dominion, Western States, Leadville, Wasatch, and Wasatch was the culmination of it. And so they were the ones that organized it, similar to how we organized the Bears,
Cool.
Rocky Mountain Slam. So it's changed over the years because of Old Dominion. Now it's Vermont, but kind of the same feel is in place there for the Grand Slam.
For that one. Yeah, those are both cool. Okay, awesome. I want to kind of wrap up the show with 3 questions that we always ask. And as an ultra runner, answer these questions.
Okay.
As an ultra runner, what is one thing that we need to continue doing?
Oh, I think we need to continue to give of our time and efforts. You talked about volunteering earlier. Please, we need more volunteers. We all need to take turns. We're doing trail work tomorrow on the Bear course, and we have different groups that can go and they all need help. These trails don't maintain themselves. The Forest Service needs our help. The races don't get put on without volunteer help. It's a huge effort. All we're doing is coordinating that. And so please reach out and help, and that's important.
Awesome. Okay. What's one thing as an ultra runner we need to stop doing?
We need to stop complaining. Man, we signed up for it. if you're out there having a bad day, tough. Suck it up.
You paid to be here.
You paid to be here. Just go do your thing. Enjoy it. Don't be mean to people. Quit complaining to the aid station people. Quit complaining. For the most part, people are really good, but occasionally you hear some complaints that are probably their own fault. Stop complaining. Just enjoy it. It's awesome out there.
Okay. And last one, what should we start doing? That we're not doing today. We can start something tomorrow as an ultra community or an ultra runner. What should you start doing?
Man, there's a lot that we can all be doing. We can reach out. We can help others. There's so much need out there. Just like what I mentioned about volunteering. Just go do something. Get outside. Find a place that needs some help. Find some people that need some help and reach out.
Awesome. Okay. This has been Cody Draper on the Next Aid Station podcast. I want to apologize to survivors Jeff Probst. We couldn't get him on the show today. Cody, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Pleasure.